Dynamite Delight. Full of rage. That's what we got in this show, guy. We got revenge, wanting to get payback, wanting to basically bust someone's head open, which happened with Chris Jericho when he got hit in the head with a mic from Hook. We got a lot of rage, a lot of hate, a lot of violence. But was it good TV? If I had to tell you, it was not bad. I'm not going to tell you it was perfect. And I'm not going to tell you that when it comes to the direction of AEW, it still feels like this. But I'm not going to tell you this was a bad episode of AEW Dynamite. It was not. It was not bad. In fact, they went 11-minute overrun. No, 12-minute overrun. They literally did a 12-minute overrun on Dynamite. Normally don't do it. Not unless you're going to throw Rampage on top of it. So this show had extra in it. A little bit of extra mustard to it. And I will tell you, there's going to be people who are going to enjoy it. And I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that think this is still garbage. It's nothing. But I will tell you that it was something you can watch. Whether you like it or not, it's still on you. Okay. At first, for about a minute and a half, there was no picture. It looks like when they were setting up for the Moxley and Bryan with pretty much Fletcher and what was it called? The Empire. I forgot the name of it because I forgot the Empire's name. What is it called? BMC? No, I can't remember the name of the group that Jeff Cobb is from. I forgot. It's been a while since I've seen him, and I forgot the group that he was with. So you guys can tell me below. I think it's the Empire. But essentially, we had 2 minutes of no TV. We heard Moxie's music, but nothing on screen. Now, I got wondering, is something wrong? So I went to the alternative to see if anything was going on in that, because usually they get the same type of feed, and they didn't have it. And then eventually we got Moxie on screen, and then we have Fletcher fighting with Cobb, and then, well, not Fletcher fighting Cobb, but fighting against Moxie, and then Bryan came out, and then they got the match. Which wasn't a bad match, but after hearing, and Taz is back, he's finally back, he's still healing, but he's finally back. But hearing them say that there's a good chance that Jeff Cobb may join AEW eventually, that was a little hint to see if you would be interested. But I don't know if there is interest. I mean, it's going to depend on how they're going to bring this guy in and where they're going to put him. Because if they throw him on ROH, he's going to be nothing. I'm being honest here. If you throw him on ROH, he's nothing. But if he comes in and he goes on to Dynamite, they better book him correctly. Now, is he going to join the Don Callis family? Don't think so. He's just affiliated with them because of this one match. He'll probably come in on his own and probably be on his own. But the match was alright. Of course, the Blackpool Combat Club won. They got the beatdown, and it took Claudio Castagnoli to come out with a tire iron. No, not a tire iron. I think a crowbar. I think it was a crowbar because the tire iron is about, I believe, this long. Here. This long is the tire iron. What he had was a crowbar. I think that was this long. The same one they used for firefighters to break into cars and stuff. But he had that running out to try and take the head off of Fletcher and take off pretty much, well, how did I feel about Kateska coming out and basically nailing Moxley? Because he is New Japan Pro Wrestling's heavyweight champion right now, and Kateska wants his title. So if he does, it is alright. But it's kind of making you think, will we actually see a match at Double or Nothing between the two? Or is it going to be on New Japan Pro Wrestling's TV? Because I am wondering, are they going to actually do that when it comes to Kateska and Moxley? It sounds like they will, but New Japan Pro Wrestling may do it, may have him do a match before that. I don't know. Now, next, an eliminator match. The EVPs versus Seidel and the Fallen Angel, Christopher Daniels, who now, I believe it's his right eye, doesn't have blood in it anymore. Guys, if you've not known, for almost over a year, until I'm sure maybe recently, last 4 or 5 months, maybe his eye was just bloodshot red because of one of his um, capillaries inside of his eye was leaking blood. Eventually, the doctor did say it would stop on its own, which it did, and now his eye has normal brownness in it. You saw it last week, and we see it again this week, which is great. I was worried about the guy because I always liked Christopher Daniels. I liked Bad Influence when it came to him and Kaz. I always liked the music. I'm being honest. I love the music when it came to Bad Influence. I love that song. I still love it. But seeing that Frank Kazarian's on TNA and Christopher Daniels is doing this, and now what happened at the end, you wonder if it's real or not. I don't think it is, but you never know when it comes to a company. They may just do it. But what we got was a good match between the Bucks, well, the EVPs, and Sydal and Chris. In the end, Chris got pinned. And seeing that it was Matt, I think it was Matt, that said, you know what? You put your hand on one of the EVPs. You're an executive. You should know better. Guess what? You're done. You're fired. But we'll be kind enough to make sure you have at least the money that you need. And no, we're going to give you a 30-day package. And we're also going to give you a wonderful escort from our fine security officers out of the building. So he's gone. And hearing them say that we spent months trying to clean up the mess from the roster that's been going on. In other words, they're trying to make up for what happened with CM Punk and them and Kenny Omega and everybody else. Like I believe it. But the point is they included it in this situation. Now, I'm not sure everyone's going to feel comfortable about that because they're going to say, really? If you did clean this up, you wouldn't actually be doing this storyline, because a lot of people will be probably saying the reason the storyline happened is because you reacted to what CM Punk did. Because if you really did clean up, you wouldn't even do the storyline at all. Because there wouldn't have been any controversy from CM Punk, you and the Bucks, and Kenny Omega and Ace Steel. There wouldn't have been anything that happened between him and Jack Perry, where he put him into a guillotine in the back, and they showed the footage, which was stupid. Not telling you that they made the right choice showing the footage. That was dumb. It was a reaction. But since they're trying to take already a bad situation from CM Punk saying what he said and then reacting to it made it worse, they're trying to take it as a storyline and trying to run with it. And I will tell you this. There's going to be people that will not like it at all. They'll think it's just bullshit, it's garbage, it sucks. Others are going to say, this is perfect, this is incredible booking. What I'm going to say in this situation, what I'm saying, it's a little bit of both. This situation is taking priority over trying to build other stories or building new stories. That's what this is. It's like the Bloodline storyline in WWE. That's the only thing they have right now. That is the most dominant thing. And now AEW has now gone into that same kind of situation. And it has its faults and it has its benefits. We got a little bit of both. That's what's going on. Next. Hook versus Wolf. Didn't last long, in less than a minute or so. He destroyed him. He calls out Chris Jericho. And this is where the blood comes in. We get Hook pissed off. His dad's not happy. Hook calls out Chris. Big Bill, or maybe Billy, is following right behind him. You hear Taz saying, I feel like I threw up in my own mouth and want to swallow it. And we get this. Oh, almost forgot. I didn't forget about Jack Perry throwing. And at this point, if it was water, that won't be bad for Tony Schiavone. But if it was soda, I'm sure Tony Schiavone, while he was sitting there, has a sticky seat and sticky hair with a sticky pair of glasses. I had to say that because that's what happened at the end of what happened with Christopher Daniels being fired. But once Chris came out with Bill and he says, how you doing, everybody? How you doing, everybody? Hi. I'm telling you this. Was he hamming it up way more than he should? Yes, he was. He was doing it on purpose. And basically, Hook wanted his title back and pretty much Chris was not fully fond of it. He was hoping he was teaching something to Hook, but Hook taught a little bit to Chris that you pissed me off, I'm going to hit you in the head with a mic that actually supposedly cut his skull open. Cut him open here and he was bleeding. Well, which side was it? Was it the left side or was this side? His right side. Cut him open. Bill beat his ass until pretty much we got Shibata coming out, who helps him out. And now Hook probably will have a match with Chris at Double or Nothing. But Shibata wants a little taste of Chris so bad. And pretty much Hook is like, I don't fucking care. You want him? Fine, but not before I get my damn title. And Shibata's saying, I want him. And pretty much Hook is ready to beat him up until Joe comes out and says, what are you two doing? You two have potential. He said to Hook, I thought you had potential. But now you're basically, he's saying, you're both acting like bitches. Instead of handling your business, you're ready to fight each other. And now Hook wants to fight Joe. And then Shibata says, it looks strange seeing florals on a big ass man like him. A fat guy, pretty much saying. And everybody said, oh, he did not go there. Someone wrote that for Shibata, or maybe Shibata had it translated for himself. You never know. You never know that Shibata could actually be funny. He may not talk very good English, but you never know, he may work around it. Like I said to someone before in the comments, when it comes to Japanese wrestlers, female or male, it's always possible to work around their weaknesses. It just counts on if the promotion is willing to actually go there. Because many promotions may not go there because they find it, well, let's just put the Japanese wrestlers in a little box like this, make them just do these simple matches, don't really give them real stories, unless they can talk English. Look what happened with Shinsuke Nakamura. When they allowed him to have basically subtitles, he looked great until they did nothing with him. They let him have subtitles, have the look of a shogun, which I called him the shogun. Shinsuke Nakamura, the shogun. He should have won a title and said, I am now the shogun of WWE. And could have had his own subjects or whatever. Something interesting, no. They could have used some Japanese culture with a little bit of American know-how and made it interesting, but they didn't. And here is the same situation. You get wrestlers like the women's wrestlers in AEW that could be used, are not used. If you look high. Hey, AEW, hey, with City. I forgot his name, City. You had Emi Sakura who can speak some English. Maybe angry. You could be doing something with someone who could speak some English. Nope. Let's move on. Let's see here. Swerve Strickland versus Brian Cage was a good match. Why was it not the closing of the show? Why? And this pisses me off. You made Swerve Strickland your damn champion. And he's a damn good champion. He earned his chops working with Hangman Page. And if anybody says he was already a main eventer beforehand, bull fucking shit. He was not booked correctly, not in WWE, and not the beginning of AEW run when he was working with Keith Lee, not until he worked with Hangman Page did he finally get what he deserved. He proved it, and everyone was behind him properly. Saying that he was great meant bullshit. He earned it. But why in the blue fuck do you have him at the 1 hour main event with Brian Cage instead of closing the show? Closing the show with that Eliminator match, which if Brian Cage had won it, he would have had the shot after Swerve with Chris Jericho. Not Chris Jericho. You see him getting angry with Christian. You know why I'm getting angry? Because you're doing this segment after the match is over, after Swerve managed to snap the arm of Brian Cage and won the damn match. The patriarchy comes out. You see him getting mad. Seeing they use a picture of Swerve's wife and daughter with him to make rage, to make people angry, to see that it was seeing that Nick hit him in the face, cut him open, the picture is rubbed into his face. shows that this should have been the ending of the show, not the 1 hour to 1 hour and 20 or 30-minute main event. Bullshit. This was dumb. But was it a great segment and match? Yes, but it should have closed the show. That's the truth. But like I said before, look what's going on. The current storyline with the EVPs trying to take over AEW is taking precedent over your own champion. But let's move on. Next, Taste's Tony Storm versus Nipple Girl. Oh man. Harley Cameron. I believe her name is Harley Cameron. It's like the third or fourth time I've seen her. Let's make it clear with Harley Cameron. Is she a good wrestler? She's okay. She's not that great. Is she a damn good looking woman? Boom. That's it. Now, comparing to my Taste's Tony Storm, boom. Because that's what you got. You got Harley, who is heavy chested, and if you saw her last match, one of those nipples actually popped out of her top, and she was so concerned looking good against Mariah May, she didn't realize that the camera zoomed in on her titty, and you saw some nipple. That's the truth. You can check it for yourself from last week. You can check it. But here, look what she did. She came in this time wearing a top and then wearing a see-through fishnet, or very see-through, like she's wearing a normal top, showing a boobie, but not nipple, and she got like see-through net on top of that. Fine, she learned a lesson. She learned be careful what you wear because sometimes you can be revealing. Was it a good match between her and Toni Storm? It was okay. Now we got to see the professor up on the ramp watching with her damn... Why is she carrying a flag? Why? Why is Selena Deep carrying a flag? I really don't believe she needs that. She doesn't need to be carrying a damn flag that she could have put down to show that this is her hill that she'll die on. She doesn't need to do that. That's what I feel like she has. I mean, that's, if you want to say that's her standing, that's her flag. It feels like she's going to put this down here. If I fail, this is the hill I fall on. That's what it feels like. But in the end, of course, Toni Storm won. And there was nothing wrong with it. But now you wonder how far they're going to go with this. Will they pull the trigger on Selena Deep's actually winning that damn title? I don't believe they will. But does Selena Deep deserve it? At this point, yes. Honestly, I don't know about anybody else, but I truly believe Selena Deep does deserve to win the title. When it comes right now to a Taste's Toni Storm or Timeless, she doesn't need the title anymore. She is so over. Oh, my nose is itching. Sorry. Guys, when you look at Toni Storm, let me ask you, does she really need the title at this point? She's the most over woman that has been known in this company since it got founded. More than any woman has been there. Look, we've had Soraya who came in. We had Ruby Soho who came in. We now have Mercedes Moné who's come in. We've had Athena come in. We have had Taya Valkyrie come in. But none of them are as over as Toni Storm. She has earned every accolade that she's had. She's that over, and to be honest, she doesn't even need the title at this point. It makes her look good to have the title, but she doesn't need it unless this is all about Britt Baker taking the damn title away from Toni Storm, which will really piss me off. But it will be understandable because pretty much Britt Baker is the founder of AEW when she isn't, because she was a very generic wrestler when she came in, and I will take nothing from her. She busted her ass to become very popular. But if you look at her popularity compared to Toni Storm's now, Toni Storm, who already had a showing beforehand, managed to blow it out of the water with this new character. But do I believe she's better than Britt Baker? Yes, she is. Because she's more developed as a person. She's more capable as a person. When it comes to Britt, she busted her ass and has become great. But she's greater. This is Britt when she first started. This is Britt where she was before she had to go out because of injury. This is Toni Storm when she started, because she already had a lot of fame. This is where she is now with Tasteless Toni Storm. My Tasteless Toni Storm. That's just me. Moving on. Let me give it to you like this. The final match, Okada versus Dax, was damn good. The fight afterward was good. And seeing now because we now know that Eddie Kingston cannot wrestle. He's injured. When he went to New Japan, he got injured and he's out. They decided to switch him with a returning Darby Allin, who, understand, was in my neck of the woods. He was already hurt beforehand when he broke his ankle, but then got hit by a bus. I already know about him getting hit by a bus. I heard about it a while ago. And now he's recovered enough that he's back. And everyone said, oh, he was supposed to go to Mount Everest. No, he was not. It was too late for him to go to Mount Everest. And particularly, once he broke his ankle, he was going to reschedule for next year. But then he got hit by a bus in New York. So now he's back in AEW, hopefully fully recovered enough that he's okay. But he looks like he's now the one who will be taking the place of Eddie Kingston. And I will tell you, it is now more interesting because having one of the pillars of AEW there makes best sense. Since when it comes to Sammy Guevara, I haven't seen him. I don't know if he's injured or not. MJF is not there. And we already have supposedly one of the other pillars in pretty much Jack. Let me give it to you like this. Jungle Boy lost that standing as a pillar when he acted on his own and wanted glass in the damn car instead of listening to a senior member of the roster. Let's make it clear. He caused this. Now, I'm not going to tell you that CM Punk shouldn't have been fired. He did. He did what he did, and he's gone. But half of it's CM Punk's fault. Jack Perry is the other half. That's the truth. Half is CM Punk's fault. Perry's the other half. So he's lost his standings as a pillar to me. So there's only 3 pillars of AEW, and only one of them is on screen, and that's currently Darby Allin until MJF comes back. Whenever that is. We don't know yet. Final is talking about the contract signing between Willow. Well, let me give it to you like this. Was Willow a good guy or a bad guy by the end of that segment? I think she was a little bit of both. Because she acted like a good guy. She acted like a face, saying that as a champion, you need to know what you're dealing with. This is a TBS title. It's been around for 50 years. Really? If you're talking about when it was WCW's time, and they should have said it like that when they were making the tournament of the TBS title that is originally from WCW, that the legacy when WCW was around and the memory of that would make sense. And they did kind of talk about it, but not in that respect. But when you really see the situation, when she said that this title means fighting, it wasn't bad. She did a good job. And then when Mercedes spoke, and it is Mercedes Moné, and it wasn't too good in Seattle because she didn't really have a lot of people booing her. It was like half the people were booing, and the other half were quiet. That wasn't good. But it wasn't like she was completely dead. She wasn't. But it was like half of the crowd there was just not interested, and the other half were booing her. That's not what you want. But that's what we got. Now, by the time it was all said and done, though, she spoke very well. But then the last little thing that Willow said, saying that I walked out as champion and you walked out with a broken leg. That is where the little heel part comes in. That little arrogance from Willow. And pretty much when she got smacked in the face. And guess what? The commentators agreed that she deserved to get smacked. She grabs a Mercedes Moné and puts her through a damn table. But then everyone's still cheering her. So this is where things are going to become a very interesting situation after Double or Nothing. Whether Mercedes wins or not. Because from this moment on, the question's going to be, can Mercedes Moné get over with this crowd, whether a heel or a face? because as it stands, just hearing from the Seattle fans, where it was half them quiet, the other half were booing her, which it doesn't matter what she gets, boos or cheers, you would hope that we get a good reaction from everybody. Either way, you want good reaction or a bad one. She didn't get only half of them speaking. That makes me nervous, because since they're waiting until Double or Nothing to do this, is 15 days away, a lot of her steam might have been lost due to the fact that she hasn't been in the ring. And it's going to make me worried. But this is just me. If I'm missing something, leave me a comment below and ask me about it. Peace.